Okay, Warhawk. So today I want to just go over the expectations. First of all, I expect you to do what you are supposed to do. So by this point, you've come into class. You should have picked up your bell worksheet, and you should have tried to answer these three questions to the best of your ability. So these first two questions are kind of thought questions, and you need to think through those and think what would I really do in this situation. And then finally, the third question is a review question that we'll go over as well. So the expectation today is we're going to go over the bell work in just a minute. Then if you're going to get your laptops one table at a time, that Ms. Bourne or the substitute will assign you to go through one table at a time and get those. And then you will start working. There is first off, there is a discussion post question. Then there are two Ed puzzle videos. And then there's finally a kind of a closure question as well. So you're going to go through each of those. Those Ed puzzle videos are for a grade. And when you do an Ed puzzle video, you kind of watch the video and then you get to a question. If you're not sure about the answer to that question, you need to go back and watch prior to that video. The part of that video that was right before the question, because it usually goes over it right then. And that's when I ask the question. So if you weren't paying attention right before the question pops up, you may not realize that the video just answered that question. So you can go back before you answer the question. Once you've answered the question, you're done. So make sure you're paying attention to that. So there's two of those, plus those two discussion post questions that you need to do. So that's four things, plus today's bell work. If you finish all that, the substitute has some extra work for you. There's also a copy of the notes that are over the Stamp Act and the Quartering Act today that you can get, that you should each of you get for today as well. So that's kind of the expectation. I know my classes, I know you guys are a great group of students, and I expect you to do well. I don't expect to have any names written down, but I have given left a note just expressing that if there is any trouble, if there's people that are not doing what they're supposed to do and they're really causing problems for other people, to leave your name. You have plenty of time to get all of today's work done. So if you're not getting all of today's work done, unless there's some kind of problem with the technology that you have, it probably says that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So make sure you're taking care of your business and doing what you're supposed to do. If you're not, they will leave a list of names of people that are not doing what they're supposed to do, and I will deal with that tomorrow when I am back in class. So I don't expect to have that issue, but I do want to make sure you're aware that is kind of the expectation. So with all that said, what is an appropriate response for citizens? When is it appropriate for citizens to protest against their government? At what level do you think you should protest against your government? What kind of rights need to be violated for you to think, you know what, this is the right thing to do. This is what we need to do. That's kind of a question that you should ask. And then like a next level would be that second question. At what point is it appropriate for citizens to use violence against the government? Is it ever okay? Some people would answer that question, no, there's never an appropriate time to use violence. But of course, then others would say, well, in certain situations, it certainly is. If the government is violating our rights, is falsely imprisoning people, killing people in ways that are not appropriate without just cause or without due process and things of that nature, then this is the time for us to stand up. That is what some people have said historically. Certainly, when it comes to the American Revolution, that there were people that were prepared to use violence against the British government and did. That's why we had a war. And so those are the kinds of questions that you have to think about. You should not take those lightly. These are not, just little questions that we like, oh, let's just talk about this during bell work or something. No, these are really important questions to really think about. When is it the right time to protest? When is it the right time to step it up even further in forms of protest that might include violence against that government? And then finally, our last question, what was the goal or purpose of the Proclamation of 1763? You should have that down by now. There are The goal was to keep the Native American or keep the colonists from moving west of the Appalachian Mountains, and the purpose of that was to keep them separated from the Native Americans so that there would not be conflict and war between these two groups. This is what partly led to the French and Indian War, and the British government is deep in debt, and they don't want to continue to deal with that problem. And so they say, oh, all right, colonists can't go west of that, which of course makes sense when you're thinking of preventing war. But if you're a colonist where this war has just been won, largely so that the British government would have access to that land, and now you're saying, no, you can't go on it, it's very frustrating to many of those people, especially those that have already purchased land in that area. And so this just really, the Proclamation of 1763 really upsets a lot of people in the colonies, primarily those people that were involved in moving out to that region. There's plenty of people that doesn't really make much of a difference for them because they were never planning on going out to that region at all. All right, so follow the instructions of the substitute, get the notes for today, make sure you get your take care of your business for the Ed Puzzle videos and the discussion posts, and do what you're supposed to do today. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.